Hello and welcome to Hot Money on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is the show which gives you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our guest on the show today. We have independent investment advisor Sharmila Joshi and Vivek Mawani, and T.S. Hariyar of HRBV Client Solutions join me on the show. Many thanks to all of my guests who joined in. Today we'll discuss a lot of numbers that have come out. SBI and ITC came out with numbers, so we'll discuss what happens as far as the number is concerned and what should be done post the numbers. Paints as a sector has done well. Most of the paint companies came out with strong set of numbers and the commentary was good. So we talk about the paint number and we talk about one stock, high valued stock which has corrected significantly, which our guests believe should be accumulated in this drop that has come in. But let's start with SBI numbers first. We all know the numbers that has come out. The commentary actually wasn't the best. The slippage number was much high. Hari, we know all the numbers now. Let's get to the point. What should one do on SBI? What's your view on it?
No, I would be a little cautious, and I'm not surprised that the stock has corrected quite sharply after the numbers. I think a couple of issues. Number one, as you said, the slippages were much higher than was originally anticipated. While the growth was there, I think the real concern is that the gross NPAs or the GNPAs have stayed static around 7.53%. So I think that is a matter of concern. We would have expected that to logically come down by at least 30 or 40 basis points. I think that has not happened. So gross NPAs, in my view, remains a concern. But I think the bigger problem I see in State Bank is that a lot of new issues are coming. There is Jet Airways, there are a lot of NBFCs where SBI has a huge exposure, there are real estate companies where SBI has a huge exposure. Now all these things are yet to really manifest as a NPA or a potential NPA. So till that picture comes out, I would still remain very, very cautious on State Bank. So for me, I think at this point of time, all PSU banks, including SBI, would be a strict avoid.
Okay, cautious on the PSU bank. Similar sentiment, or you liked SBI's numbers?
No, numbers were all right, but I think precisely the concern was obviously with the slippages, and I think if you drill down into the slippages, what is concerning is that one is that that whole agri loan waiver bit is beginning to show up. That concern is beginning to show up in the slippages number, and I believe that in this quarter the number was really only for one state, and this is something that is sort of going to only grow bigger. We don't see this becoming smaller because that is something that you have to sort of do in a phased manner or in whatever way they are doing it. And I think the second is that NCLT cases, they've not heard anything, any resolution. And I think a lot of positive sentiment on SBI was based on the fact that you will see a resolution of one of the NCLT cases. And for one reason or the other, this is getting delayed, and we've been talking about this for too long now. So in terms of numbers, yes, and I think definitely in terms of if you were to look at the PSU basket, it would still be the preferred play. But yes, these concerns stay on the numbers, and I think both these are issues that are going to continue to pose a sort of a concern for SBI even going ahead.
Okay, Vivek, what's your sense on SBI?
Well, I'm positive about it, notwithstanding the concerns. So while I agree with the concerns, both Hari and Sharmila put out, and of course the market participants in general over the last 2 days that we've been hearing, but I'm positive on SBI, and I'll just highlight a couple of positives. One is sharp fall in actually net NPAs by almost 220 basis points, which is quite sharp, number one. Number two, their provision coverage ratio is 79, upwards of 79%, almost 80% provision coverage ratio, which must be statistically an outlier in the banking system. SBI has gone through a fairly painful, SBI, like all PSU banks, has gone through a fairly painful cleanup over the last 5-6 years. I think much of the cleanup is done. Provisioning has been very high. So, and now is the hope of recoveries and hence reversal of provisions, which should be the story over the next 2-3 years going forward. One of the reasons which, besides reversal of provisions, which would drive earnings in future is 12% growth in credit, 15% growth in net interest income, and net interest margins at upwards of 3%, which have normalized to a very large extent. So positives on growth front are coming about. Hopefully recoveries and reversal of provisions will be the story over the next 4 to 8 quarters. And if we look at what are the valuations, because you can't look at any performance in isolation, it's about 1.2 times price to book on a current year basis. Forward would be probably about 1 time. And one more trigger could be potential offer for sale in SBI Life Insurance where and of course SBI is also looking to raise more capital, where we are still not clear as to in what form is it going to be. Is it equity or additional tier 1 bonds, or what form it may take? But that additional capital will also help it to propel growth in future. So from a valuation point of view, I'm fairly positive on SBI at price less than 300.
Okay, that's the view that's coming in on SBI. Vivek is positive on SBI in terms of valuation. The other two guests are a little concerned on SBI. The next stock is ITC. Came out with numbers. It was inline set of numbers, but I think the cigarette volume disappointed. The stock trading at a fresh 52-week low. Vivek, what's your sense? What's gone wrong for ITC? Is it something that you would accumulate at this level?
Oh, certainly. I mean, ITC is another stock that I would have a long-term accumulate, and I would buy at probably every level and every time horizon. So, I mean, if you were to ask me, if you'd asked me this question 3 months ago, my answer would have been yes. If you ask me the question 6 months later, my answer will still be yes, accumulate. ITC is also, I mean, very rarely.
Okay. I just need to interrupt you. I think there's an important announcement that's coming. I think we need to wrap this show. I think some bigger political development is here. I think we need to catch, but keep watching Bloomberg Quint for more news and updates.